Welcome, everyone. This is the Southwood Conservation Commission meeting, Monday, August 2nd, 7 p.m. We are meeting Zoom only, and with us tonight, we have Chris Pratt, Chair. We have Brian Drennan, Jerry Patria, Dave McWilliams, and Marissa Cook Obregon. We also have our Secretary, Jean Nilsson. And that's it for now. Okay, we'll get to the other people later. Okay, so we have some minutes. Do we have any mail, Gene, that we need to go over, or are we all set with that?
No, we're all set.
I thought so. I hate mail. Okay, approved minutes. Did everybody have a chance to look at the minutes? I know Brian did.
Did.
And Brian, you have given your corrections, and Jean, did you, were those included in what you sent us with the corrections, with Brian's corrections?
Well,
Could be.
could be.
Okay.
It's a good chance, yeah.
Okay, we'll say yes. We'll say yes, because I like the way they looked. And then anyway.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
What's that, Brian?
Brian made a
Sorry,
motion.
both actually, especially the second set.
Okay.
Okay, do I have a second on this first and second sets?
I'll second it.
And both sets?
Sure.
Okay,
I only have one, but
okay, Dave, Dave, what do you say?
Aye.
Marissa?
Yes.
Aye.
And I as well. Minutes approved. All right. And we also have some other little business here at the opening of our meeting. We have any public comments that isn't already on our agenda? Didn't think so. There's nobody's here that isn't already on our agenda.
So different than the planning board. Theirs go on for hours.
I know, right? I like this way better. And we also have approval of consultants, since we are short on employees right now. I am suggesting that we approve a consultant to handle our business, because I'm pretty sure I don't know how to file an RDA or an NOI or look at which things need to be filed for either way. And I could guess. I know some of the regulations, but I'm not versed in all of them. And I'm pretty sure not everybody else is here, because we haven't been to a lot of trainings lately for sure. So I would like to approve a consultant to handle our business. And I would like to name Dennis Clark as our consultant.
Not that guy.
That guy right here.
Oh, Lord.
I'll second.
And Chris, was that a motion?
I make a motion to nominate Dennis Clark as our conservation consultant. And who seconded? Brian Drennan. Okay. Jerry, what do you say?
You're going to need a per hour rate.
I believe $50 an hour was the hourly rate agreed upon. Dennis, is that what we're talking about?
Sure, $50 would be fine.
Okay.
$50 an hour.
I think that's a bargain.
yeah.
Real.
But I would encourage everybody to get somebody to replace me as soon as possible, because the limited amount of time I'm going to be putting in, it's going to get messy if we don't get somebody in there pretty quick to take the day-to-day.
Right.
Listen, at $50 an hour, we've only got you on the clock for like 4 hours before our budget's gone.
Right.
Hey,
I know. You'll burn through your old salary pretty quick.
Yeah.
hey,
Okay, Jerry, do you
I say aye.
and Dave?
Aye.
And Marissa?
Aye.
Okay. So that is approved.
Is there a job description for that that's out there?
not yet.
No, so David and I met with Joe Didi this past week, and he wanted to merge that job with the park and rec position. and make it a full-time position. But I said to Joe, my feeling is that anybody who is seriously considering conservation knows all the regulations, is in with things, probably isn't going to want to do the park and rec day-to-day business of scheduling who's going to be playing on what soccer field or a baseball diamond, or, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, if we want to take this position seriously, I think we need to stay with a conservation person who's going to be able to handle and pretty
Yeah.
much, I also told Joe that conservation is pretty much a full-time position. Although-
Chris,
Yeah, so-
7:05,
Excuse me,
7:05,
7:05 already?
yes,
Okay.
our first hearing.
Oh, it can be anytime after 7:05.
Oh, it can? Sorry,
It can't
I don't
be,
know, I'm not Dennis.
that's okay.
Right?
It just can't be before 7:05.
Oh, okay,
And should we wait until 7:05 to open that hearing?
okay.
Otherwise,
Let's swing back around to the Dennis thing at the end.
we can certainly do that. And you can, I'll let you talk too, Maria, since you were there. Okay, so we have Noble Steed Crossing. And I believe, Gene, you sent me the legal. And I'll read that right now. The South, oh, you did it for me too. You're amazing.
Not yet.
What do you mean not
Is
yet?
that-
I'm not amazing yet.
Oh, I liked it where it was. There you are, perfect. Okay, the Southwick Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing under the Massachusetts, or the Southwick, under the Southwick Conservation Commission Regulations and Bylaw, Chapter 182 and Chapter 450 for notice of intent. The proposed project location is 1 Noble Steed Crossing, map 141, parcel 53. The applicant proposes the construction and in-ground swimming pool and the associated site improvements located within the buffer zone of an isolated vegetated wetland. Okay, and we are open. And who do we have? Ryan, is that you, or who do we?
Yes. Hello,
Okay.
everyone. Ryan Nelson from R. Levesque Associates, representing the applicant and property owner Kim Perrin. This is an estate lot on the Noble Steed Crossing subdivision. This is the subject parcel here. You're looking at existing conditions. So the driveway, septic system, house has already been constructed on the property. There's an isolated wetland located south of the existing home. And they are looking to install an in-ground swimming pool approximately 20 feet wide by 40 feet long, with some surrounding hardscapes and typical landscaping you would find around a pool for a home. All this work is located within an existing cleared yard area, so there'd be no new vegetation clearing to put this pool in. The existing tree line is shown as this line here. The 50-foot buffer zone is shown here, which the project will be staying out of. So the only work proposed within conservation jurisdiction is between the 50 and 100-foot buffer zone to an isolated wetland. So this project falls only under the Southwick Wetlands bylaw, as it's an isolated wetland, which are not protected underneath the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act. That's pretty self-explanatory, not much other details than that. The lot's pretty flat where the pool is going, so we don't foresee any significant site grading being required. Happy to answer any questions you guys would have.
And you say that is existing mown lawn now, or?
Yes.
Okay.
That area had been cleared out before these people bought the house. It was inadvertently cleared prematurely. So yeah, it is cleared, unfortunately.
So I was
But
gonna ask, how did that happen?
Yeah, how did that happen? Ryan, are you proposing any kind of boundaries to show where the 50-foot buffer is? Any plantings or any boulders or anything?
They're not shown on the plan, but we're certainly agreeable to it because I know, like as you said, the initial tree clearing part of the subdivision overextended beyond where it was supposed to go. So we're happy to show or condition some sort of monument along the 50-foot buffer.
Did the applicant have anything in mind, what they'd like to have, trees or rocks? Or
I have not heard from them about that, no.
We've typically recently asked for boulders, rocks, right? Because they're
Right,
pretty much immovable.
right. I mean, if you put them along the tree line, I don't think they're gonna be removing any trees now, are they? I mean,
I don't foresee any need to, no.
so I think if we, put some boulders along the cleared area right now at the edge of the clearing, that would help to eliminate any, confusion later on.
What about right along the 50-foot buffer too behind that like half semicircle so that it just
Well-
keeps them from doing anything beyond that?
I
Even
think
though it's mowed, let it grow back?
that- Yeah, I don't,
seems to make sense.
yeah,
Ryan, that's outside of the endangered species area, right?
That's correct, yes.
Can't move it with my own fingers. I'm trying to move it on my computer. It's not working.
yeah.
Sorry, which direction are you trying to go?
Just, yeah, back it out a little bit. That's all. Yeah, if they boulder all around like we discussed, I'm fine with it. It's already mowed. And I think if we boulder around by where the 150 is behind the pool, that little semicircle area, at least over time, we'll gain some of that back,
Right.
keep them from mowing it.
Yeah, I mean, that is jurisdictional, so I wouldn't disagree with what David's asking to do, is to delineate that 50-foot buffer with some boulders, bring them back into compliance a little bit, and then we'll it's kind of like
It's a compromise.
that's it, that's the word.
Sure, yeah, that's agreeable with us.
Okay.
What about a bond on it, Chris? You looking
No.
for that too, or?
We usually do the $10,000 on a personal property. Once the boulders go in and the site is prepared, I think they could get it back from then. I don't think the job has to be totally complete, because then they're depending upon the builders to finish the work. But I think if they take care of that part first, then they could get the bond back a little more quickly. So the bond could be released upon the placement of the boulders and site work.
Ryan, when are they planning on doing all this? Is this like an immediate project they're looking to get done?
Yeah, so the summer window is fading, ideally this year if they can.
So
They have
that
a
bond will be
contractor?
pretty quick.
What's that?
Do they
I said the
already have a
bond will-
contractor?
Yes, they have a contractor and a pool company lined up. I don't remember the name, but a couple months ago they did mention that the builder was the one that advised them to come to the Concom first, just to make sure they had all the permits.
Oh, well, we like
Nice.
them.
Nice.
Okay,
So I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to accept the plan with conditions of the boulders being placed at the 50-foot boundary and along the tree line, as well as a $10,000 bond.
and I will second that. Okay, Brian Drennan, what do you say?
Aye.
Marissa
Aye.
and Jerry?
Aye.
Okay. One done.
So it's Chris, if you like, I'll write up the order of conditions under local bylaw only. It doesn't go to the DEP. Get it
Correct.
to Ryan as soon as possible so they can get started on the project as soon as possible.
That'll be wonderful. Thank you, Dennis.
Type fast, Dennis, type fast.
You're on the clock. There's no slow snow roll in it.
Hunt and peck.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so. Oh, okay, so we are now on Lot 5, Mark Vining Road. The Southwick Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Law C 131, Section 40 of the Southwick Conservation Regulations and Bylaw, Chapter 182 and Chapter 450 for notice of intent. Proposed project location is Lot 5, Mort Vining Road, map 165-011, parcel lot number 5. The applicant proposes the construction of a single-family house partially located within the wetland buffer zone. And you're behold right now. Welcome back, everyone. Not that you left. Okay. And who do we have for that?
Jeff Smith. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, very good. From Prime AE, and we're representing Oak Ridge Custom Builders on this house construction. The back of the property has a BVW in it along the back of the field. And the house is located as far forward on the property as it can be. But a portion of the house is within the outer 50 foot of the 100-foot buffer zone. The plans, I can try to share the screen here. Let's see. Can you see that? Can everybody see that?
No,
Not yet. No,
Oh,
Oh.
we're coming.
almost.
There it is.
Yep.
Is it there now?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the road out front. This is the house. This is the BVW towards the back of the field. 50-foot buffer zone is right along here. And he has erosion control set up right along that, approximately along that 50-foot buffer to kind of demark the end of the outer limits of the workspace for the house. Septic systems forward of that and partially out of the 100-foot buffer, but the majority of the house is within the 100-foot buffer. Any questions?
How far is the setback from the street, Jeff?
I think it's 40 feet. I am not positive of the setback on that. It's on the plan, but let me see if I can zoom up on that. And wow, he has the house 75 feet back
Okay.
from,
Yeah, well, I was gonna say 40 feet, you're already getting something.
no,
25
I
is normal.
was mistaken to say that. It's 75 feet.
Yeah, which is your minimum setback.
Right. That's why I was saying 40 feet. We can't ask for any more than that. It's already pretty good.
Well,
Can you just zoom in a little bit more, Jeff, for us?
sure.
Yep. Okay,
How's that look?
that's better. Thank you.
You're welcome.
so virtually the whole house is in the 100, except for maybe that bottom left corner and the porch.
Pretty much, yes. Yep, there's about 5,686 square feet of work area within the buffer zone. Not all of it, obviously, is the house. The house isn't that big. But you can see a portion of the septic systems inside the 100-foot, but not within the 50-foot. Propane tank, the well is I think inside the 50.
Jeff, did you get a chance to address the DEP comments on this?
Did not see any. Today I was online. I didn't see any comments on it.
Gene, did we get a file number on this?
We
On
do.
lot 5, yes.
And there was comments on that file number. You didn't get that, Jeff?
I did not see that.
DEP
No. I just came back.
DEP had a few comments on there for you.
Um,
Dennis, check to see, I think I put the DE comments on that email I sent you with all the information. I can't
did.
share my screen.
Yeah, you did, Gene. I did look at them as well.
Well,
Okay,
I think that they need to, address those comments to the, one way or the other, but if they don't have them, then we're not going to be able to address them tonight.
I will look here. More binding. Lot 5. All right, let's see if I may have missed it. Like I said, I just got back from vacation today and I'm
Gene, this is the one you were talking about, just most likely going to need a continuance, right?
actually lot 11 also. Because I talked to Mark Stinson today
Yeah.
and he didn't even find the filing for lot 11 until this afternoon.
Yeah, I resubmitted it this afternoon. There was some computer glitch. I don't know what it was because they got submitted consecutively on the 19th of July, I believe. But okay, I have Mark's comments up here. Erosion sediment control along the limit of work. I don't think there's any plans to cut any of the trees at the back of the lot or any of that vegetation.
Well, there's no definition of lawn area. There's no, plantings of trees. There's nothing there that, they could just mow right into the 50 foot. They could mow right up to the wetlands unless there's some kind of demarcation, some boulders or trees or something. I mean,
I think that we were told that we would have to put boulders along the 50-foot buffer.
and who told you that?
Well, I got it from Steve, my boss. But,
Where is Steve?
He's probably up at his camp in Otis, maybe. I don't know.
Good for him.
He was in Hartford all day.
I don't know. I think I need some more details on there before the commission could make their minds up on this. It's
Yeah,
it's a little vague and
Okay,
there's a lot in the wetland area, a buffer zone.
yeah.
You got
A lot of
pretty much
work.
the whole house there. I mean, are they not gonna do anything behind the house? I mean,
Well, I expect that they're gonna want to have some lawn, but we can put some limits on clearing. What would you say would be a good vegetated buffer along the edge of the wetland?
well, what kind of wetland is it?
It's a wet meadow. It's basically it's a hayfield currently, or has been.
yeah, it was a hayfield. If it grows back, it could turn into a nice productive wetland.
Yeah,
Did you guys go to the ZBA at all to find out if you could do 50 feet from the road instead of 75 feet? Because I believe the other house is 50 feet, isn't it? The house that's existing there now? next
I'm
to
not
it?
sure. I have not been involved with the zoning board, but I can talk to Steve about that.
Yeah, I think you might want to go that route because that was where we first opened the meeting. I was gonna probably ask you for that.
Okay,
And when you said 40, it kind of like, well, I guess they already did that. But 75 is their normal setback, but they have accommodated conservation before when there are wetland issues. So I think that might be the route that we're looking at.
Mhm.
Um,
I will talk to them tomorrow. I'll talk to Steve and I will talk to Terry Reynolds, the engineer, and see if we can make that change. It doesn't sound like it's too unreasonable.
Yeah.
Can
I
you
mean, that
pull
would
the
be-
plans back just a little bit?
Can I what?
Can you pull the plans back just a little bit?
Sure. I mean, zoom
They'd
back.
have
Yeah,
they'd have a bigger backyard. They could at least have a backyard if they moved it up a little bit, but,
Right.
you know, ask their clients what they'd like to see, you know, if they want to plant trees or something to, you know, edge of work, limit of lawn area would be good to see.
I heard from an abutting neighbor, the foundations on both these lots have already been installed.
Really?
Oh,
I don't think on these, no.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how that can happen. That's not supposed to happen. We have a building permit process that, you know, anything within 100 feet has to have a permit with any disturbance, whether it's a, you know, no matter what it is, it doesn't matter what the building permit. So technically this is in violation
Right. So we can't-
already.
Yeah. That'd be a huge issue for all parties.
Well, he went to the building inspector first and then he came over to the conservation.
Well, that's
And
not the way, it's not the way it's supposed to work. It's the building
No,
department shouldn't
the
give out a
neighbor-
permit. But even if they did, it's still, you have to get the conservation permit. There's not just one permit, there's several permits. And one of them is anything within 100 feet of a wetland, a resource area, needs to have some permit before it can be disturbed. And clearly this is in violation of that Wetland Protection Act at this time now.
Right.
I was speaking about the neighbor that came over and questioned it. He went to the building department first
Oh, I'm
and then
sorry.
came to the conservation
I'm
office
sorry.
and asked about this because he claimed that there were 2 foundations already installed.
Well, maybe we should do a site check inspection to verify.
I mean, I'll drive out there tomorrow morning and verify it. And
Yeah,
I'll take pictures if you'd like. And I'll email them back to you and I'll determine which lots he is working on and give you an update on that.
yeah, maybe it's a different lot or something, Jeff. Maybe
I think
got
it is,
confused.
yeah, 'cause, we've been staking out a number of lots, so.
Yeah.
There's work going on maybe 4 to
Should
5.
investigate it before we, you know, just jump the gun on it. So
Yeah, we can't do.
let us know tomorrow what you find out.
I'll send photos in tomorrow late morning. Yeah.
Jeff, is the 50 and 100 foot delineated in the field currently?
I think it's staked out, yes. I can make sure of that too, but I think that the surveyors were out there staking the buffer zones. That might have happened last week.
do they have the foundation staked out, the house location staked out? Do you know that as well?
In all likelihood, they do. But, you know, if we can get permission to move it closer to the road, they'll just restake it. It's not a huge inconvenience.
Did you say the erosion control was in place?
No, it's not. He has it shown that he would put it along the 50-foot buffer zone. But the way we have it written in our report is that erosion control will be put in place before any work takes place at all, so that there'll be no excavation going on without silt fences or core logs.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna be looking for a continuance upon further information here. So we need to know if we're in violation first, I guess. And then the ZBA can
Yep.
move that forward for us. That'd be awesome.
Yep. I will get on that tomorrow morning.
Okay,
I'll have to talk to the engineer and I'll have to talk to Steve and he'll have to talk to the client, but
right.
sure it can be done. There's no reason that they shouldn't agree to do it if the ZBA will agree to it.
Okay, so I'll make that motion.
Second,
Okay, Brian, what do you say?
Aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
Marissa?
Aye.
Okay, we're continued. And you want to try for the next meeting, Jeff?
Yes,
Okay,
would that be the 16th?
yes.
Okay. And hopefully we can take care of lot 11 at that time also, that the number will have been.
Verified.
Yep.
Yep, okay, that sounds good. So we'll continue them both together.
Do you have to read the legal notice on lot 11 before you can continue it, Chris?
Why don't we do it? It's a go through the motions kind of thing, but it's not, probably not a bad idea.
Mr. Smith, you got to stop sharing your screen.
Okay. If I can figure out. Here we are.
There you go. Okay, we'll read that in and continue it, even though we've already discussed it a little bit. Just to
Okay,
make
let me bring it up, Chris.
This way I don't think we can continue something we haven't started.
Right.
Okay, the Southwick Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing under the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Law C 131 and Section 40, the Southwick Conservation Commission Regulations and Bylaw, Chapter 182 and Chapter 450 for notice of intent. The proposed project location is Lot 11, Mort Vining Road, map 165-011, parcel lot number 11. The applicant proposes the construction of a single-family house partially located within the wetland buffer zone. All right, we're open. And through our previous discussion, we have heard from a butter that the proposed project may be in violation. So to verify, we're going to postpone this, continue it to the next meeting. And Mr. Smith is asking for that. I will make the motion to continue. I'll let
Second.
11. Dave says yes. Brian,
Aye.
Marissa,
Aye.
and Jerry.
Aye.
Okay, continued as well.
All right, very good. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jeff.
Take care.
You too.
The next hearing scheduled for 7:25, I received an email from Roz Terry asking for a continuation.
Okay, we will continue. I'll make the motion for continuance. Do I have a second?
Second.
Jerry seconds. David,
aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and Marissa.
Aye.
Okay. That was easy. Okay. We have 1 minute to wait till Sodom Mountain Road. I think we've all been out there. We're pretty familiar.
I had 3 ticks. Anybody beat that from that trip?
Ticks? I didn't get any
Ticks.
ticks.
Oh, wow.
When we were out there, yeah, I had 3 ticks.
Huh.
Oh,
Must be hot
Tiny,
blooded.
tiny ones too.
Ooh, those aren't the good ones.
No.
Unless they were babies.
Yeah, I ran through the nursery, the tick nursery.
Yeah, you may have. It's possible. Chelsea's had that up in her garden before. She's like a pile of ticks.
Oof,
Crazy.
kind of heebie-jeebie-ish.
Mm-hmm. Tick season is slowing down right now for sure.
The person identified as Dan's laptop. Can I have your name and address, please?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Dan Dumais, Dumais,
Yes. It's Dan.
My address is 11 Sims Croft Place.
Thank you.
It's in Simsbury, Connecticut. It's not in.
Yeah, it's on your application.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Okay. So we are going to be looking at a continuation of a proposed construction of a single-family dwelling within a 100-foot riverfront area within the 50-foot buffer of a wetland and within the 50-foot buffer of a wetland resource area.
We are.
Hmm?
The
We are?
continuation was for 42 Depot, not for Sada Mountain.
Am I on the wrong one?
Yeah. You're on Sada Mountain now.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what time it is.
I skipped one because I was looking at the time. We have Depot Street first. I'm sorry. Proposed multifamily unit is associated with site improvements portion of the project within the buffer area of bordering vegetated wetland. That's the one we're on, sorry.
No, the 42 Depot Street is continued.
Oh, that's gonna be, that's the one you said for Ross Terry, and we already said that's continued.
Right. So now we're on Sada Mountain.
I know, that's what I already did. Right. Dean, you're making me so confused.
Dennis, please come back.
Hey, don't blame it on me. Man.
We continued the 42 Depot Street. That's,
Right.
we made the motion and approved the continuation. And now I just read the continuation for Sada Mountain.
Okay.
So now that's what we're gonna move to is our Sada Mountain project, because it is after 7:35. Okay. All right.
All right. Hello, everyone. Ryan Nelson from R. Levesque Associates again, representing Dan Dumay. Last time we met on this, there were a couple outstanding items. Just a brief recap, refresh everyone. Single-family home project that requires a stream crossing of an intermittent stream. We were meeting the Massachusetts stream crossing standards for that proposed culvert. The wetland delineation was peer reviewed by Kate Bednaz of Freshwater Wetland Services. The flags have been adjusted and the most recent plan shows those adjustments. There will be some BVW fill as a result of the proposed driveway location taking place within historically filled BVW also. There will be BVW replication located here. Septic system is located here. And the proposed house exceeds the threshold for 10% or 5,000, sorry. The proposed house is within the threshold of riverfront area alteration when one considers the entire parcel. However, we are working within the 100-foot inner riparian. And at the request of the commission, the applicant hired a wildlife biologist to conduct a wildlife habitat survey or study of the property. We can review that if you'd like, but in summary, they noted that the proposed work within the riverfront would not have an adverse impact on riverfront area. And they had some suggestions that regraded areas within the limit of work be planted with a native wildflower seed mix to aid for pollinators. So we've added to the plans that the regraded slopes to the west of the house and to the east of the driveway, as well as the septic areas be seeded after construction with that mix. I believe, Gene, we resolved the fee issue that was outstanding for a while for the notice of intent filing fees. We received finally comments from DEP. We've addressed those. I think we have all the outstanding items that were requested. Additionally, Mr. Dumay has worked out with the current landowner a declaration of restriction agreement that we had discussed. Last time we had presented some draft language regarding that. Overall, that document would be recorded with the order of conditions and be transferable with this property. The intent is to protect the 100-foot inner riparian corridor along the entire length of Dismal Brook on the subject property, which equates to, I believe, just shy under 4 acres. So that would be, conserved and could not be developed in perpetuity for the land. as a additional mitigation for the proposed work within the 100-foot riverfront. There are provisions underneath the riverfront area performance standards for when a project cannot stay outside of 100 riverfront. They have to the maximum extent practicable, condense that layout. We believe we're showing that. We're keeping a modest house footprint size. We're using a drive underneath garage. We applied for a ZBA variance to shift the house away from the resource areas. We're using a septic system with a reserve area to be located between the infiltration rows. We're using a retaining wall between the septic area and the proposed rain garden area. All of this to condense our layout and reduce our overall footprint to try and minimize riverfront area disturbance. So that hits upon the key issues that have changed since last time. Happy to answer any questions you guys have.
So is there a proposed development coming up the road? I mean, as far as, you know, you're only looking for the 100-foot riverfront protection? Is there a reason you're only looking for the 100-foot?
So the way it's worded, the 100-foot would be protected, but there's also a clause in the declaration of restriction stating that any future development has to take into account this current project and the previous developed riverfront. And that clause is referring to the outer 100 to 200 foot. So it's just making any future landowners aware that, you know, we've already taken a bite at the apple of that 10%.
Right. I mean, I'm wondering why it's not the 200-foot. Why is it 100?
Why can we just have that in the document, the 200-foot?
I mean, that's a lot of land. I mean, it's open to,
Well,
I
it is
guess.
a lot of land, but that's what needs to be protected, Ryan.
I can let Dan chime in on what his, you know, I don't know what that's worth to him. I don't want to put words in his mouth.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I was able to negotiate with the current landowner. And so the swath of land is 200 feet wide at a minimum. It's often wider. It's 850 feet long, and it's 4 acres in size. There's no plan for development up there whatsoever. But I don't want to preclude, and I think it'll be myself if I'm fortunate enough to buy it. I don't want to preclude myself from, you know, if I want to clear an area and put up a gazebo or something, or clear an area and put up a little barn to put a horse in or something. I'm not going to go within the 200 feet for that, but I don't want to preclude myself, and Ed, I don't think wants to do that at this point either.
Well, I think that's really what we're kind of looking for, is that protection of the 200 feet, because we're giving some down in the bottom here. And I thought that's kind of what we discussed at the last meeting.
What would be the intent of what's allowed in this 200 riverfront? Because the existing roadway goes through much of that riverfront. So to say that nothing could ever be built within riverfront,
Well, you know, you want to
blocks
build
back.
on the roadway. I mean, so I mean, anything to the south side of that road, I would
But-
say,
there's that unknown issue of an abandoned roadway that adjoining property owners then owning to the center line.
right? So I mean, that basically the abandoned roadway, we would say is an abandoned piece of property, and we wouldn't be treating it as a roadway. It would just be within the 200-foot riverfront. Right now, there's a gate across it there. You're nobody's supposed to go up there anyway. Right?
The town still owns it, and they treat it like a road right of way, which is why I have to stay 75 feet away from it. I mean, I agree with what you're
Well,
saying.
below the gate, you have to stay 75 feet away from it, and above the gate, you can't do anything. I mean, it's not a roadway up above the gate, even though the town owns it. I don't believe they're considering it to be a roadway. That's why they wanted to know where the proposed driveway was going to be, making sure that it wasn't above the gate.
The town building inspector told us that the frontage along the abandoned roadway was to be treated as a front lot line, and therefore that was the reason why we had to go for a variance to go within 75 feet.
Okay. I just heard different from DPW, so we talked to two different people, that's all.
No problem. Yep.
Hey, when we're looking at the mitigation done down below, Ryan, is that a 1-to-1? Is it 2-to-1? What are you looking at?
So we're proposing 477 square feet of BVW fill, and the replication area is 826, so almost a 2-to-1.
We tried to achieve the 2-to-1. We connected 2 wet flags. And my goal was to achieve a 2-to-1, not a 1-to-1. We're pretty close.
Okay, thank you.
In
Yeah.
addition to about 4,600 square feet of previously altered BVW that's now mowed and has gravel or stripped fill, various spots, that would all be restored. That's this cross-hatched area in here.
Where did the appeal with the zoning board come out? I can't read how far off that road you are. Did it?
Sure, it was
did they
approved.
alter it?
It was approved. We can go as close as 65 feet from a 75 foot. So a 10-foot leniency of variance was granted. And if you're thinking, well, maybe could we go closer? If we went closer, we'd be moving the house up the hill. Then you'd be raising the bottom basement floor for the garage, which would require more fill to bring the driveway up, which actually resulted in more BVW fill when you're trying to grade out the side slopes of that driveway.
I just think it's a tough spot to build, man. That's a tough place.
What do you propose for erosion control, Ryan, right next to the wetland by the driveway?
So there would be a silt fence starting at the upper stone wall, going around the limit of work, down through here, around the crossing area, and then back up to the septic system, right about there. So silt fence on the whole down gradient perimeter of work.
Would that be maybe a double silt fence with hay bales on the bottom part, the down gradient part?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, especially around the stream area.
Well, I'd be very curious for our consultant's thoughts on this project.
I think, Dave, on this one here, it's up to you guys. It's a judgment call on how you feel about it. They've done as much as they can as far as technically, you know, what they can do to condense the project and make it least impact. The big question is about how much is going to be protected, and that's totally up to you guys, how you decide how you feel about that.
Right. Thank you.
Just to clarify, may I read the comment from Mark Stinson regarding kind of what the parameters are of approving something of this?
Sure.
Give me 1 second. Okay, so the italicized text is Mass DEP's comment. Specifically number 5, I'll read for those that can't see the screen. If the commission determines that the submitted plan has the least riverfront impact per comment number 4, then regardless of the deed restriction, the requirements of 310 CMR 1058 4D 1A are not met in that 8,405 square feet of work in the inner 100 of the perennial streams is proposed, and therefore the project cannot be permitted per that section, but may be permitted per the provisions of 310 CMR 1058 4D3. That section states, notwithstanding the provisions of 310 CMR 1058 4D1 or 2, the issuing authority shall allow the construction of a single-family house, a septic system if no sewer is available, and a driveway on a lot recorded before August 7th, 1996, where the size or shape of the lot within riverfront area prevents the construction from meeting the requirements of 310 CMR 1058 4D1 or 2, provided that A, the lot can be developed for such purposes under the applicable provisions of other municipal and state law, and B, the performance standards of 310 CMR 1058 4D are met to the maximum extent feasible. In difficult siting situations, the maximum extent of yards around the houses should be limited to the area necessary for construction, except whereas the lot contains vernal pool habitat or specified habitat sites a rare species. A wildlife habitat evaluation study shall not be required. So per the section 3, he stated the project is permissible if you're exceeding those thresholds based on the existing lot geometry and where wetlands are located, as long as the applicant's proving that the project is, as you know, is being contained to the maximum extent feasible, which we believe we're doing. So if that's, you know, if that's what the commission believes, as Dennis said, I believe that's a discretionary call.
Right. The lot was approved before 96.
Correct.
And
Yeah,
this
they're not
Wetland
saying-
study didn't find anything in terms of environmental significance for species or endangered species or wildlife. Can we review that?
Sure, let me bring that up.
There was a tree that they were concerned about, right, Ryan?
Let's see here. It's 27 pages, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll try and find a summary of it.
Thank you.
It's on page 10.
Yeah, this was done by LEC. Some conditions, photos. That's the one large maple tree within the near where the house is going. Important habitat features observed within the impact area include one large live tree, a sugar maple greater than 30 inches in diameter, two standing dead trees between 6 to 12 inches in diameter, small mammal burrows presumed present, and dense herbaceous cover for small mammals, amphibians, and reptiles.
Top of that page, I think.
As proposed, the project will not impair the capacity of riverfront area to provide wildlife habitat functions and will not have a long-term adverse effect on wildlife habitat interests under the Wetlands Protection Act. The DEP manual also states that alterations greater than the thresholds may be permitted if they will have no adverse effects on important wildlife habitat. In order to achieve the standard of no adverse effect, these alterations must be avoided, minimized, or mitigated. There's, I guess, supporting statements to that would be riverfront area alteration was reduced to the greatest extent practicable in consideration of site constraints, including zoning, wetland buffers, topography, septic, and access, all rendered the current project footprint the only feasible location for constructing a modest residence. Second bullet point, all reasonable alternatives to relocate the work outside of riverfront area were evaluated as described in the NOI prepared by RLA. Third bullet point, the residents will have a minimal lawn area in order to preserve the maximum amount of natural habitat. And then their recommendation was, as stated above, the site will continue to offer specific habitat features found within the project and includes substantial mitigation for riverfront area alteration. Approximately 5,415 square feet of meadow outside the limits of work, including 2,058 square feet of historically altered BVW, but within riverfront area, will be restored as part of this project. Restoration will include removal of debris, fill and stockpiled material, and planting of native wood species. The exposed restoration areas will be seeded with wetland seed mix by New England Wetland Plants or an approved equivalent. LEC would also recommend revegetating the following areas with a pollinator-friendly native wildlife grass seed mix to further enhance wildlife habitat. Those areas consist of easterly regraded slopes of the driveway, regraded side slopes southwest of the house and retaining walls, particularly areas within the 100-foot riverfront area, and the septic system footprint and immediately surrounding areas. So all those areas to be seeded have been added to our plans. This closing statement is, I therefore conclude that the proposed project avoids, minimizes, and mitigates adverse effects on wildlife habitat, and that it will not, following 2 growing seasons of project completion and thereafter, substantially reduce the site's capacity to provide important wildlife habitat functions.
Thank you.
Ryan?
Sure.
This is Dennis. As far as you know, Mr. Dumais doesn't have any plans to go in front of the planning board and carve out that lot, the one lot out of that big parcel?
No.
So, I mean, here's what I see, right? You've gone before the zoning board and you've got it moved as best you can, that 75 feet, right?
We have.
You've done the habitat, the wildlife study. And you've gotten the owner of the property to agree to 100-foot. And really, that's the only sticking point I think that we have right now is that 100-foot. I think you put your work into it to get it to fit on that property as much as possible. But yeah, I think our concern is that 100-foot riverfront, and you know whether or not you and the owner are willing to make some changes to that number.
I mean, I certainly am, but I don't own it. So it's a decision he's got to make. And I'd have to get his approval on that. I thought we had a discussion at the site visit where if I could carve out the area on 100-foot of either side of the brook to permanently preserve it, that would be, you know, that's the most ecologically sensitive area that would mitigate the disturbance down below. But maybe some people, maybe it was 200.
So this is a figure RLA is prepared to accompany that declaration of restriction, just giving a kind of a course overview. Here's our project site, Center Mountain Road, the abandoned roadway, the approximate center line of Dismal Brook, and then this dashed line here on both sides would be the 100-foot riparian zone.
So Ryan, have you gone forward with the derelict road to try to get that out of the town's hands? Because obviously it hasn't been used and it shouldn't be in the town's hands. Is that process under the way, or?
I have not, no. Similar to Dan, I don't know what Mr. Beckwith's stance is on that.
Mr. Beckwith told me that they were planning on doing that. That's why I asked.
Okay. I can look into it for sure.
I know he started it in Granville. He formally started it in Granville. I don't think he started it, frankly, in Southwick. But as Ryan said before, the grade of the road is impractical for any like residential access. it probably will revert to the property owners on each side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Dave. I think you've done as much as you can possibly do on that bottom lot. But taking into consideration the riverfront disturbance down there, I think we were asking for no riverfront disturbance above that lot on that part on the adjoining land. So I think I'm gonna have a sticking point.
Seems like there was some confusion at the site visit, whether it was 100 feet or 200 feet. And that seems to be the only sticking point at this, you know, right now. I think everything else is, they've done everything they can do. I don't know how to resolve the 100 or 200 foot.
Maybe I need to make a phone call. I'll be right back.
Sure.
Yeah, I was not privy to that conversation. I don't know if I left before that happened, but
I mean, I'm pretty sure at the last meeting, I asked for that whole riverfront to be protected above the parcel, and that would be 200 feet. You know, 100 feet still lets there be, you know, the some development up there, I believe, on the south side of the road, which I don't think we want to see.
Well, it's so close. Hopefully we can get it resolved. I mean,
Right.
um,
I mean,
done
even if we say maybe adjust it to say on the south side of the old Sodom Mountain Road.
yeah, I just think at some point we got to look at this particular parcel. If he is not the owner of all of it, and he's only coming before us for this parcel and has no control over the other parcels because he's not the landowner, I think this guy's done his work.
Yeah, I'm sure that Dan would like to see that happen because it'd be in his best interest that was protected. But my understanding was that this whole parcel is going to be one and not subdivided.
Right.
Yeah.
So what can we put in like a order of conditions there then, Dennis, if we decided to go ahead with this? Is there anything that could be put into an order of conditions?
Well, like Ryan was saying, it would be recorded with the on the deed. So
Right.
it would go along with whoever has the deed at the time. It wouldn't be the current owner. It would be whoever owns it at the time, whoever holds that deed.
How can he put something on a deed that doesn't belong to him?
He
That's
wouldn't.
different.
That's why he's calling Mr. Beckwith to see if Beckwith will put it on the deed. So when it gets transferred. Ryan, is that correct?
Yes, let me see if I can pull it up.
So if you look at it, right? So Mr. Beckwith, the owner, his stake in this is, I can sell this lot to Mr. Dumais if I make this adjustment to the remaining property. What he has to lose at this point, as far as we know, is the sale of that one lot. Now, it could be more than that, but we're not privy to that. But that's really what it comes down to, is that's his gain or loss, is one lot on that entire property.
Right, and if Mr. Dumais is serious on buying the rest of the property, then he's not really losing anything if he does do the 200 foot.
Right.
So,
Yeah, right, the existing easement. Yeah. Yes. Yes, it will. We can do it.
So this is the draft document. This is very similar to what Westfield
If you'd like,
uses.
I can put you on speakerphone and you can speak to the commission.
I don't know if Dan's making any headway there.
It sounded like he was. He said
Right.
two, and that could mean, you know,
let's listen.
So, Mr. Beckwith is on the phone and he's agreed to the 200 feet on each side of the brook. So if you have any questions, or maybe Ed, you can speak to the commission and they'll hear from you as the owner.
Okay, like I said, I'm in agreement of it. Having a draft, made up, for this. I have no problem with 200 feet whatsoever on the remainder of the 50 acres.
That's super. That goes a long way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beckwith.
So Ryan, this would
I'll be in
just be an
touch tomorrow.
adjustment of this document to reflect that?
Yes, we can update this to reflect that, or you could also
I believe so, no.
condition it. Either way,
Thanks.
this document would be reflected to update it regardless, but
Right.
Well, I would say, yeah, let's change this document to show the 200 feet.
Yeah, and then that would be an automatic condition on the project, so. All right.
Okay.
Very good.
So we're looking for a motion to accept the project with the condition.
We're actually looking to close the hearing because it's a notice of intent. So I will make a motion to close the hearing. You have a second?
Second. Second.
Okay. Jerry,
Aye.
Marissa,
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Okay, now we can take a motion on the project with conditions.
I'll make a motion to accept the project with the condition that the document be changed to reflect a 200-foot riverfront buffer zone protection
The remainder of the parcel.
in perpetuity.
All right, very nice. I will second.
Bond,
You can have a bond.
We'll do the $10,000, our standard $10,000 bond, since it's a single family home. Jerry,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and Marissa.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay,
thank you, everyone.
You.
Long road on that one. I appreciate all the time.
Okay.
Thanks for your hard work on that. Both of you guys.
And we'll do a nice job. We really will.
I believe you.
Thank you, Dan.
All right.
It's nice.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it. Okay. All right, where are we now? Where are we now? Agenda.
Fred Jackson.
Yep, moving on to 115 Fred Jackson. It's also a continuation. It's an NOI, proposed construction of a single-family dwelling and with other site improvements currently under DEP review. Do we have anything new to be looking at tonight? Ooh, looks like there is. Okay. All right. So who would like to speak?
Sorry about that.
Okay,
Ryan Nelson again. So this project had been continued for quite some time as we were awaiting a review of a water quality certification application from DEP. That application was required for any amount of wetland fill related to a new residential subdivision. So even though this is an A&R subdivision, it still counts. And the wetland fill is related to the historic fill shown in red here. 2 segments totaling about 3,641 square feet of estimated BVW. I had a couple extensive conversations with David Fowlis about this project going back and forth before they wrote the permit. It's my understanding DEP is willing to forego or forgive any, I guess, prior BVW violations that have occurred. They're not looking to pursue any enforcement of those as long as the mitigation area, they're calling it, or the replication area for this disturbed BVW is conducted prior to the remainder of this project. So it's part of DEP's permit and timeline that this area in yellow here is the proposed replication area. And that's shown on the last sheet. This plan view's turned about 90 degrees, but this area is intended to be constructed at the end of this summer during the growing season. The existing wetland boundary is located here. We've identified all the mature existing trees shown as these dark gray circles. DEP has asked us to try and preserve these and tie into our wetland and grade around the crown of the roots of these trees. And they are including that as the calculation to BVW as part of their permit. Access to this site will be from the neighboring hayfield shown on this dashed line. That would be the route through the woods, which has been strategically located to not involve any tree cutting to get to this work zone. So any trees over 5 inches in diameter or greater within this replication area will be left. So essentially, we're just removing small saplings and cutting down the grade to allow for hydrology to exist within the proper separation from the surface. We've done 2 test pits in this location with an excavator to determine the groundwater elevations, and the proposed site grading has been adjusted to accommodate for those. Groundwater was at about 30 inches from the surface, so we're cutting about 2 feet, which puts our groundwater within 6 inches or so of our finished grade, which would be ideal for a proposed wetland area. In addition to that, we have a prior NHESP conditional no-take letter. Some of the requirements were that the limit of work zone be monumented with either bollards or some sort of signage. So that's what these blue triangles are shown. And we have a letter from them approving this plan. Septic system has yet to be designed. That's contingent upon all of this being approved. I think that hits upon the key points. Yeah, DEP was most concerned with the proposed replication area meeting all the standards. We had to submit quite an extensive BVW analysis of what was lost and what is going to be proposed. I believe I forwarded the permit to Gene or Dennis earlier about a week or so ago. But like I said, it's our intent that this project, the replication area, would be constructed first, and then the remainder of the project would begin.
Ryan, I had a question.
Sure.
Where's Johnson Brook on this plan?
Johnson Brook is right here. The headwaters, well, this is a tributary, I guess. A USGS map, I think, labels Johnson Brook farther down. I can try and find that.
I'm a little confused under the DEP comments about it being a cold water fishery. Does that put it into a different category instead of being just an intermittent stream?
Let me see here. Here's our subject site. Johnson Brook is labeled by name past John Mason Road. There's 2 headwater splits west of that. I'm not sure if that constitutes Johnson Brook or is a headwater of it. But from my discussions with DEP, although it's acknowledged it's a cold water fishery, I don't think that imparted any special conditions or impacts for this project.
Oh, it does say that Johnson Brook is designated as a cold water fish resource. Therefore, the certification requires a permittee to notify the department in writing at least 72 hours in advance of any proposed activities within 25 feet of the high water mark. So I was a little confused what the distinction was.
Yeah, so I guess he was jogging my memory. He was requesting or asking if any work had been done, is being planned to be done in the future to the west of our proposed site. And the answer is no, but just an acknowledgement that any future activities that are to be conducted in proximity to that stream, I guess we have to let them know, even though there won't be any. Or we don't plan.
That was my main concern, and it's clear in the future where that stands. Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Ryan, again, what's the ratio of replication to what they're going to be filling?
They had filled 3,641. We are proposing 4,500. We actually initially proposed a 2-to-1, and DEP came back to us and said that's excessive, that's not required. They are of the mindset they don't like to see pristine forested buffer zone cut down to make a replication area. So they requested us to minimize that to 4,500 square feet.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
So when the order of conditions are written up, we could just refer to the DEP document instead of having to put all those conditions into the actual order from the commission?
Absolutely. I would think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
I think they're not that Southwick is anything wrong, but if their conditions were a little more stringent than your usual order of conditions.
And we go with a normal bond on this, Chris, you figure?
Can't hear you, Chris.
I think we should stick with a normal bond. I mean, it's a single family house. It's a, you know.
Right.
Even there is a little bit more work proposed here. They are going to be doing the replication first. So I think that bodes well in the trust of the project. So I think the 10,000 would be adequate.
He's gonna have DEP looking over their shoulder also, so it's an extra security.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Kevin Solik. I'm the property owner. Can I have a moment to speak, please?
Absolutely, Kevin.
I know I get your the bonding, you know, that's normal standard procedure for you guys. However, on this project, I do have a lot of conditions that DEP has issued, and like you guys just stated, they can come down harshly on me if everything isn't followed to their conditions. I have a strict way of how everything has to be done. Everything has to be done prior to any building. So in that, saying that, I don't see, I get the point of bonding so that everything does get properly done. But I have a lot more to face if I don't do what is in the condition. So I don't understand why I would have to do a bond.
Well, Kevin, like you said, it's a general practice, and we like to keep things as an even playing field as we can for every applicant.
Okay.
Although I do see your point here, so you may have a reason for maybe not having a bond on this project.
Yeah. And I get that too, and that's why when you say an even playing field, the Greens, their bond for that project, which was a 40-acre or 40-lot subdivision, their bond was also only $10,000. So for me, the amount of money that I've already had had to spend on this project, it's just these costs are just keep adding up. And I know that's not your issue, like, total concern of you, but it's getting to the point where it's,
yeah. We also look at the potential impact on a project where the Greens wouldn't be as much as, some of the things that we've been through here already, and looking forward to correcting. So, I mean, that's part of the difference between those two projects.
Well, the Greens has that issues because Crestview I was at one of the meetings, and they
Yeah.
had a guy bringing a machine right in the wetlands, and
You're right.
so, I mean, that's just a way larger scale project, and for them only have to do a $10,000 bond on 40 houses, and me have to do it.
There weren't 40 houses that were impacting the wetland area, is what I'm saying.
Well, this is only one house that's impacting wetlands, not
I
three,
know. Well, this is true.
right?
This is
right.
true. Also, we've had some issues with this project, right, Kevin?
Well, I mean, I guess it's a gray area because everything that fill that was placed was done under my forest cutting plan. And I understand it's a gray area because now it's being turned permanent, but that fill was placed there legally, and there was people there. Dennis was there for the meeting when we did our forest cutting plan. He was there. Mark Stinson was there. So everybody's been aware that fill has been placed since it was placed. So
Right.
It's not like it was done.
This is another thing
miraculously.
that we sometimes run into, Kevin, and I'm not saying that you did this. Sometimes people will present a forest cutting plan with the intent of later on developing a parcel. So I mean, that's, sometimes that's a backdoor way of getting into development. I'm not saying you did that, but sometimes we have to look at these things with a bigger view than this happened first and I wasn't aware. So I mean, just to let you know, we've had some experience where those things have happened. So
And I get it, but I mean, I'm not the bad guy. I mean, there's not that many people that are my age that are involved in the town, and I'm not. I mean, I help run my family farm. I mean, I do as much as I possibly can in town. I mean, and I understand conservation and ag is two totally different things, but
not totally different.
Conservation is also tied in with ag, and there's very few of us left, and it doesn't make it very easy. In this, you got to have a happy medium. You understand where I'm coming from? I mean,
you were on a great path earlier. I would have stopped instead of arguing. I think you could have stopped a long time ago and had a better outcome.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has
We're
been
not
a
here
little
to
bit
argue,
frustrating.
Kevin. We're not here to argue. We're here to help.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I might jump in really quickly, I think, Kevin, to this point as well, you've been very open, and you haven't obfuscated anything. So we do appreciate that. And thank you to Ryan Nelson as well for working with us. This has been a long going project. And I know that you're committed to conservation as well, Kevin, through your farmland. And I do believe you when you say that you wouldn't necessarily develop this. So I think there's that to take into account, that Kevin has been committed to conservation with his other properties as well. So I think it's something that we can take into account if we are thinking about conservation and agriculture as kind of being under the same umbrella. So thank you, Kevin, for mentioning that. That is something that we are aware of.
Right. And I do think you had a good point about going through a lot already, and DEP looking over his shoulder now, and he will incur fines if he does not.
Let me just remind you, this was a very nice, this is a beautiful farm field, and it's not going to be anymore. So if it was going to remain as a farm, I think you could use that case as an argument. But this is a development which is taking farmland away from.
Dennis, the reason why the house is being located where it is to preserve as much of the farm field as I can. The front lot, I had to reconstrue the lot lines to make that front parcel 5 acres to put it in a chapter 61A. And it's like all these committees fight against each other. I have to have 5 acres of continuous acreage to keep something in 61A. I wouldn't be going through all the aggravation I am to put the front lot in a 61A to preserve as much as I possibly can, So, I mean, if you open your eyes and you look at the plan, originally we were only showing the front lot at 3 acres. Now it got changed to 5. And the purpose of that is to keep it into 61A. So I could put 2 houses in the front. Me and my brother bought this property together to try to create and keep as much we're trying to grow and to keep our area or my kid, the word I'm looking for is, my
So,
family's
Kevin,
legacy. We're trying
let
to
me-
grow it a little bit, and this
let me
is making it harder.
Let me ask you, Kevin, so are you planning on building houses up on front by the road or no?
Not right. If I was putting it in 61A, I wouldn't be planning on building them right now. But what if I ever have kids and my kid wants to build a house? here someday?
61A, as we all know, 61 is a tax deferment, temporary, and you can fall out of 61A from one year to the other. So that
Yeah,
really
and
doesn't.
Yeah, and
And the way I see it, you're going to put houses on the
if I ever
road.
do anything with it, I have to pay if I have to pay the taxes back on what the tax deferred.
Saying your argument doesn't cut it here because this is buildable lots. This is not farmland. This is going to turn into house lots. So if I were you, I would just, not push this any further because you pushed it so far that it's taken a year for this to go through.
Yeah.
This could have gone through in a couple of months if we had done it correctly to start with. So I'm just giving you some advice. If I were you, I would probably just say thank you very much and, close this hearing as soon as possible.
What's the time frame on the project, Kevin?
For building, not until next year sometime. After the first of the year. So the only thing that's going to take place this year is the mediation or replication and any stabilization of the site, like as far as silt fence or anything like that. But as far as building, it's not going to take place till next year. After this winter, March, depending on the weather.
Did you already close the hearing, Chris?
No, we didn't close the hearing.
No.
Wait for someone to make a motion to close the hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Marissa's a second. Brian, what do you say?
Aye.
Aye as well. Jerry?
Aye.
Okay, hearing is closed. I will take a motion on the project.
I will make a motion to accept the project with a $10,000 bond.
Okay, I will second that motion. Brian, what do you say?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
And Marissa?
Aye.
Okay. You're done.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Ryan, well, we got you here. Jean had a question. She wanted to, it's about the RDA for Hillside, whether you really want to go through with that, because I'm fairly confident the commission's going to find that RDA positive and require a ANRAD as they have with, any big project. It's up to you, though. I think Jean wanted to give you one last chance.
Sure. I understand that of any projects in ANRAD, this is probably most suitable. But, just on behalf of the applicant, I gotta do my best to work for them. So, last time around in 2016, no, not 16, 2018, I think this was approved under an RDA previously. So we'd like to get the boundaries of the wetlands redetermined. It was done to an RDA previously, but I understand that, you guys have the right to ask for an ANRAD. I just wanted to hear a confirmation of that if that was the case.
We went out there with you, we spent maybe not even an hour, Chris and I and somebody else, and there was really no way for us. That was a mistake to do it under an RDA. We realize that now, and we get a second bite at the apple to do it right this time. As we, with all the last projects you brought in, it's all been done like that. And if it had been done that way in the first place, you wouldn't be here right now. So I just, it's up to you, of course. You have the opportunity to do the RDA. It's just going to, make the process longer and more costly.
Yep, I understand. Yeah, if that's the general census of the commission, then we'll be submitting an ANRAD.
Chris, you're muted again.
I know, I do that on purpose. I would agree with Dennis, to what Dennis is saying. We have been out there since the other delineation, and, you know, there's a lot more out there than we originally, or that I originally realized. So, I mean, I would suggest an ANRAD for this project. But
And just so I can kind of gauge what our efforts would be, is this something the commission, I know you may not be able to say so now, is this something the commission anticipates a peer review? Or,
I
I think they have to look at it first before you decide that, right? I mean,
Right.
okay,
So Ryan, you want me to that $75 check?
I guess so, yeah, we'll be submitting an ANRAD.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. Anything else for Ryan on the agenda?
Look, I'm going back to it now. I think that looks like it. We do have some new business, which is also old business. Is Davin still with us?
Yep, still here.
Hey,
All right.
amazing. It's darker where you are now than it was before.
Thanks,
My
guys.
tan
Have a good night.
My tan's helping me hide.
Okay.
Thanks,
so,
Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
South Pond Association is updating their maintenance plan. They are anticipating putting in a porta potty down at their beach area. So I think Davin's going to update us on that now.
So after all of our excitement we had for the top of the hill for our runoff and our drains and our catch basins and stuff that we did, we had done a 5-year plan for you, with maintenance for the beach, doing, upkeep, plantings, cleaning up, little tree preservation, just overall maintenance, going by the plan that we had submitted for spring, summer, fall. We've been sticking to it. We've been doing all sorts of plantings at the top of the hill. We got grass growing up. I've been in contact with Chris from DPW about maintenance of the catch basin and stuff, making sure that that's in their game plan and stuff for the fall when they do all their catch basins. And some of the members have brought up about looking at doing a porta potty down at the beach. In talking with it first, before we were going to go jump forward in this whole thing, it was checking to find out what we're allowed to do, whether there's a distance we're supposed to be, or any of this kind of stuff before doing it and getting in trouble and all that kind of stuff for doing it. I know the health department doesn't have anything. I've been in contact with her. She hasn't been able to dig up anything. There was talk about having to, with lake management stuff, having to be so many feet or something like that, but that never came about because there's no Massachusetts, God, I'm missing the word for it, for, being able to have a porta potty down there. So kind of, I'm looking at you guys to find out what your concerns, or is there a, setup that you guys want that we need to do, or any of that kind of stuff before, so I can go to the members and say, okay, we got to have it, 300 feet off the water or 200 feet off the water or something like that. So that's where we're kind of at. I want to make sure that we're doing it right, just because, and so I can put it on the 5-year plan, and then we'll get you a new copy of that with it.
Yep. Now, so there's some land at the top of the hill as well, Davin. Would that be out of bounds for you guys to think about putting it at the top of the hill, or you want it right down at the beach?
We're trying to keep it kind of hidden.
Okay.
Away.
I'm sure the neighbors don't want to be looking at a porta potty. But...
Right. So, one of the things I'm looking at is putting, like stockade fencing around it.
Okay.
So you're looking at fencing rather than actually looking at a porta potty. Being able to lock it, being able to, put it on a flat ground, kind of keeping it so people from the lake really don't see it, but people that
Right.
are coming up the street just kind of wandering through.
There's a section towards midway that we were thinking in terms of putting it there so that it's not at the beach, so you're not looking at it
Yeah,
as you're looking at the water, but it'll be behind you, but it'll be hidden enough that it's not an issue for, for the neighbors, et cetera. And
Right.
also be a place where we can have the truck go down and pump it out.
exactly.
And,
So
and my,
another question I have is, I saw some of Dick Randall's comments about having it anchored. Are you planning on like a cement base for it and having it anchored to that cement base? Or, I mean,
wasn't, from everything that I've found out, it's not really required.
no, I know.
But depending on where we put it,
There might be a remnant of the ice house there that we might be able to chain too, you know what I mean?
and my thought was, if we
I don't
did
think anybody's gonna steal it. I'm just thinking about having it
talking
blow over or something.
I'm talking about tipping over or
Right.
being tipped over.
Right,
in that kind of
exactly.
situation.
and
Yeah.
my thought kind of is, if we do the stockade fencing around it, it's gonna kind of be more of a, like, deterrent from trying to tip it over and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I worked on tobacco when I was younger, so I know how things might happen, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you shit. You know,
I-
but
Was that through experience?
Oh, yeah. I've not personally involved, but I've seen it happen.
yeah,
I personally think the cement base would be more of a problem than the actual outhouse itself,
Yeah.
the porta potty itself.
yeah. I mean, we would have, if depending on where the members actually decide that they want to put it, kind of thing, because that's what we're kind of looking at is, I mean, to put a cement base in, you're going to have to do excavation through rock and stone. I think you're going to tear up the hill more than you're going to do any good.
You can
Yep.
put on a couple of pavers, set it on some pavers, that way you're
Right,
not taking any floodplain, it still has drainage.
right.
I think as long as you put it in your 5-year plan and, your maintenance of it, and it's gonna be seasonal, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Looking at right now, like Memorial Day to Labor Day, so kind of like 3
Right.
months,
Oh,
and
wow.
then it'll be gone. But make the stockade fence so we can take it down, kind
Right.
of put it together so we can take it down during the winter time,
Yep.
and stack it up against the ice house, and we put the docks there and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So
Whether we,
Gavin, I would have one request is, well, two. One, that you make the stockade fence so tight around it that it can't be tipped over within the confines of the stockade fence.
Yep.
And two, that the access to it be from the upland side as opposed to the downside. That
Yep.
way, if somebody does manage to push it over, they'd have to push it over up the hill as opposed to down the hill.
right, yeah. So if they, in order to get the door side to be open.
Yeah.
So you want the door towards the lake
Uphill.
on the uphill side. Okay.
There might be an issue with pumping, putting the door there. We might push it towards the driveway that we have going down the hill. They might fall into it
instead
of standing.
So we would have to look and see how the porta potty is designed on the skis.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they go left or right on the
Not
base
sure
of
where
it, or
they
front,
pump it from.
front to back. So trying with the area that we're, two places that we look at is trying to make it level enough for that. So if we can get it to the door heads uphill, then we'll do that. We'll talk to I'll talk to the vendor, and make sure that that's okay. We're trying to make it easy enough for people to get into and use that are a little bit older that are down there and that kind of stuff. So we are going to have to do some kind of like walkway kind of spot to it. So we're trying to get it all together. But I mean, is there behind the ice house is there a distance that you guys prefer, or other than putting it at the top of 2nd Street and changing it to the telephone pole for everybody to see?
Are there any regulations?
Right.
As far as I understand, there are no real regulations on porta potties except for, staying out of the flood zone.
Yep.
Because we can't be putting, structures into the flood zone.
Right.
If you're gonna
No,
be up there, if you're
As,
gonna be,
as far as I know, this, they were talking that this thing was like a 1 week service, each week kind of service. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if because of the number of people, whether it would be extended more than that, you know, to a 2 week service or something. It depends. We'll have to find out more from the company, just because if they do a 1 week service and only 3 people used it, it's kind of useless for them to be coming out.
right,
So to make it cleaner kind of thing.
yeah. I mean, I think
You know,
that's up to you and the provider. I mean,
Right.
might help to have a plan, you know, if you just, if Davin could just sketch a plan on, you know, like an assessor's map or something, just to show the location. And
Yeah.
add that to your 5-year plan. And,
Yep.
you know, I think that would be perfect.
Okay.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
plan.
So I mean, what I'll do is, as soon as we get the association to agree where it's going to go with everybody, and
We'll put the X
we'll
on the plan.
we'll put
submit it.
we'll put a map with the plan with everything else on it, so you can see. And then can I just re-email this 5-year plan to Chris or to you, Dennis, or
Gene,
Both,
probably
yeah.
do the best.
Go on.
Gene,
Yeah.
go to Gene with it?
Yeah, and then she
Okay.
can get Garrett with a commission.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go to
So
who?
You know, with everybody else here, all the other people.
All these faces, the faces.
Yeah.
Hey,
That big
Gene.
square in the top of your right-hand corner, Gene, all of us.
I have an unlisted email address, Devin, sorry.
Well, that's okay. Chris told me I had to email you to get on the schedule, but he didn't tell me you were on vacation.
That's because I didn't tell him.
Ah,
See?
Secrets.
Yep. So if you guys are okay with it, then we'll move forward with it.
Yeah, we just need to like see where it is and we can, you know, we can probably approve it without a meeting if it's not violate or outside of jurisdiction.
yeah.
Yep.
It's not down at the water, so.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not gonna be anywhere close to the water's edge, but we
Yeah.
will work on securing, you know, we'll do something with securing it, whether
Well, I mean,
What-
that fence sounds like a good idea. I mean, nobody's gonna move it through a fence, you know?
Yep. Yep. And it's trying to hide it so nobody has to look at a porta potty too. So
Right,
disguise it.
exactly.
So, but that was the only thing we needed.
Okay.
But-
And you're all set.
All righty. Thank
All right,
you.
Guys, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah,
thanks,
you also-
thanks for hanging out.
You can get done earlier because you actually have us on number 3 also
Yeah.
for new
I
business.
saw that. I did see that.
Right. Yeah.
Well, see, Chris, you told me to do it, I did it.
All right. Good. It was on there from last time too. That's why. That's all.
Yeah. Okay.
All
Okay.
right, guys, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
You.
Bye.
Okay. RD requests for 110, 112, 138R Hillside Road.
No, that's the one you decided that
Oh,
it's
the
not
one we
gonna
just
be an
talked about.
RDA,
Okay,
it's
that's
gonna
the
be an
one we just
ANRAD.
talked about. Okay. Maintenance plan, LPP issues, disparate Harris violations, PowerPoint. Norm, are you home?
I am here.
Okay. I think you're on.
Okay, can you share my screen and I'll put up my presentation? Let's see. Well, I wanna. Go get it. Okay, so this presentation, can you see this now?
Not yet.
You can't see that, huh? Okay,
Nope. You want me to try? There it is. There it is.
okay, so let me go backwards. Okay. So this this presentation is updated from the one that you received because I met with Gene on Friday and we realized that I did not have the association dock stickers on my list. So I have updated it to this one. And as a result, some of the number of violations has gone down. Okay. So some of the facts and issues, my biggest problem was recognizing the street number of the house I was looking at when I was on the lake, trying to determine what their inventory was for their dock and boats. The second item is the lack of the requested location signs that we've asked people to put on the end of their docks is so low that it was almost not useful. Only 6.5% of the docks have the required location signs on them. It's about 9% in Massachusetts, and it's about 2.5% in Connecticut. So that didn't help me very much. Okay. I'm going to go down another one there. There are areas of
Norm, did
Yes.
the docks without the addresses have stickers on them? Or not have stickers on them?
no, I didn't look at stickers on docks. This is the location sign.
Yeah, but if they don't have stickers, they probably don't know to put the location sign because they probably didn't apply for a permit.
Well, that in some cases that is absolutely true.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in many cases it's not true. Okay. I mean, there are a lot of people that know they have to have them and they don't have them. Okay.
Right.
There are docks and boats on right of ways. You got in Connecticut, you got the B court and you got the D court, and then 9 Beach Road in Massachusetts, which happens to be, I guess, Park and Rec property. They have allowed one dock and one boat there. Okay, so skipping the next one, the policing of the stickers of the boats and doing the inventory would be totally simplified if we had the location signs. Now, my inventory does not include the 2 legal marinas, okay? Because the data wasn't supplied, so I didn't do those. And a vessel is anything that has an engine, okay? So we can go to the next one. The top half of this is what I inventoried. You can see it by state. So we have a total of 374 docks, 489 vessels, and so on and so forth. And then the bottom half is the stickers that Gene has issued. So we have issued a total of 474 stickers, and I have inventoried 933 items. So the difference in those two is going to be the violations, and that's the next chart. Okay. So we have in docks, we have 81 in Massachusetts that are in violation and 87 in Connecticut for a total of 168. We've got a total of 234 vessels. And then over in the very far right, I figured out the estimate loss of income for these violations. And actually, it's hidden from me on my pictures. There we go, $6,162 of potential loss of income, and that includes the $2,400 that was received from Suffield. Okay, so if you look at those 429 violations, they occur across 183 different addresses, 95 in Mass, 88 in Connecticut. If you do a quick Pareto of those violations, you could pick the top 24 offenders and you could attack the 139 violations that go with those. Okay, so that leads to my recommendations. A process needs to be developed to increase the number of dock location signs. If you have those in place, you can police the stickers annually very easily. I've got into this project myself somewhere between 40 and 50 hours. Okay. I spent so much time on land looking at color. I wrote down the color of every house around the lake. So I could, when I was on the lake, I might be able to, it might help me identify the number of the house. So then you can police the stickers annually. I recommend that you send out letters as soon as possible, and I believe that has already started, which is wonderful. I believe that we should start doing fining. I will offer to draft a letter to the Conservation Commission for that letter to be sent out to the violations, if you want me to. Next one we can skip because she's on top of her job here. She's doing a great job on this. When the current agreement with Town of Suffield expires, we need to negotiate a more equitable agreement for the next one, if there is another one. Begin issuing violations. There may be some additional water field support that's required from the Conservation Commission. I'll be glad to assist with that in any way I can do. And you might have this one, request legal opinion on what options are available to the Conservation Commission for Connecticut homeowners that violate the LPP. You might have that, I don't know. But that's my presentation. I'll be glad to help in any way I can going forward. And I'd be glad to answer any of your questions.
Well, we could always use a little extra help, Norm. That's appreciated. I'll tell you. I went out in a boat the other day to look at a few places, and I think we were out there for 2.5 hours and didn't get very far. So I understand the amount of work that goes into the research. I appreciate what you've been doing.
Yeah.
We try to get out on the lake a couple times a year to look at certain things. We don't do a total lake survey like you do. But even that, it's tough to get people together certain days, and some people work. I mean, but we would like to do that more often, I believe. So I think we're looking at things in the right way here. I agree with all the things that you're looking at, things that we should be able to get a better handle on. I'm not sure how easy that will be. I mean, if we get the placards with the addresses on the docks, I think that's a step. I mean, safety wise and everything else, as far as telling the police where you are on the lake and, things like that, not just for LPP. So, these all are good points. They're valid concerns. At the beginning, we didn't want to issue fines for violations because we wanted to bring more people on. We're trying to get a good rapport with people, but I think now that we're how many years? 15 years into it. I think that looks like that's something we have to do.
Well, as I said, I'll be glad to assist in any way I can. Just make the request.
Well, I think we'll definitely have some more discussion on this, and see what we can do.
Just a little caveat to the fining.
Yep.
LPP regulations mandate that notice be sent by certified letter prior to fining. And just the Connecticut states that Norm provided me the addresses for, it would be a total of 52 mailings at $6.96, which would be a cost of $361.92. That's just for the mailing of the letter that tells them to be in compliant. That does not include secondary mailing for a filing.
Right. And I'm not sure we can fine Connecticut because we do have that legal agreement with the town of Suffield.
It doesn't specify that we can't fine them.
Okay.
Yeah, we asked the harbor master, Kevin Bishop, before he left, and he said that we do have the ability, just as we do in Massachusetts, the same ability to fine them.
Okay.
There's one home in Connecticut that has 12 violations. They have 4 docks, 6 boats, and 2 personal watercraft.
Seems like a good place to start.
Yeah. Right there, bingo. $6 for that one, it could be profitable.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good house to spend the weekend at.
That too. All
Are we
right.
still, are you guys still planning on doing a joint meeting with the lake management and the DEP?
We already did that. So we met with DEP the other day. Was it Friday?
It was Thursday, wasn't it?
Thursday.
Thursday.
It was Thursday. You're right. Thursday, David and I met with Brian Harrington and Dick was there.
Kyle was there.
Oh. So they have recommendations or?
So for, we only spoke about a couple of the violations. One of them, we were late to the meeting and missed on is it Point Grove Road? And then we were there for the one on the Despard property. And that one right now, we're looking at, looking into some certain things, more research to be done on. But it looks like right now, the avenue that would be best looked at is building permits, because there were no building permits taken on the structures and they have roofs on them. And the roofs do count as dock space because they overshadow the water and they're permanent structures. So those things were relayed to us. And the other thing was we need to get a better idea of the property lines on the parcel to see where, if the docks are actually on the property or not on the property.
So is the DEP going to take any responsibility, or are they putting it all on the commission?
So
You
this
know, Dennis,
year,
the tone I got out of the DEP was they're down bodies, they're overtaxed, and what we're talking about didn't really amount to a priority on all of the projects they're working on. I mean, he came right out and said that.
right?
So they're not going to take any action on it then.
No, they're not. And they're definitely not this year, but next year, they said they recommend that we do not approve them because we don't have the ability to approve under LPP that amount of dock space. Let me just show you. Am I sharing now? No, wait a minute. Let me see here. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is the parcel here, the Despard parcel. But he said he also owns half of this parcel as well, which would go down to the water's edge. He said that this is a shared parcel between he and his neighbor because he had squatters' sovereignty over it and they went to court and they found to split it. Okay.
Well, we're looking at Lily Way, so that really they don't own any of that property.
Well, Lily Way, they didn't want to say anything about Lily Way. Dick said it wasn't Lily Way. He said it was part of the towpath and that it had been filled in behind the towpath. And so Brian Harrington pretty much said that, then fine, that's, that was the water's edge. And now what goes out to the water is still that parcel. So Lily Way doesn't even factor into the situation. But
So all these years we've been telling people they need to get the do the abandoned road and having them take possession.
Yep. So he said that
count anymore.
They weren't even going to consider that as part of it because we've already given permission for other people to put docks off of that. And he said,
That's not Lily Way over there. That is the towpath.
Okay.
Lily Way is down right there. Yeah.
This way. Okay.
Yeah. If you look at the maps, that's all we got to go by is
Well,
the maps.
this is the Southwick map. It doesn't say Lily Way. It doesn't say anything on there about towpath or Lily Way. There's.
No, I think the only thing at this point is just don't issue them a permit next year, and then.
Right.
Yeah.
They have to go through DEP, and they recommended that he file not an abbreviated Chapter 91 license, but a full application.
Right.
The Chapter 91 license. So I think that's what they want to see happen. that we don't give him the LPP permit and recommend that he goes through the regular process for Chapter 91 through the full application.
Makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
But for this year, it is what it is. But as far as, we need to look at the property lines, because this, as you can see, goes out around the point where I think when Dick was talking, he said he doesn't own that. But even these docks, the way they are positioned here on the map, I'm not sure that's exactly where they lie.
And it's not.
Yeah, and like I said, that looking at the parcel line here, if we follow that half of that down, it does put those 3 docks onto his property, if he indeed does own that. I mean, I'm not positive of that myself. I haven't seen the paperwork for that, but so that's what we're looking at for that parcel. But as far as Louis B's situation, I wasn't privy to. We were a little bit late getting let into the meeting for that. So that's where we are. All right. David, did you get anything else out of that besides they're short on people?
The important things that I got out of it was, that the building inspector had to get involved over at that property, and that DEP right now is really just, they don't have the manpower to dig into any of this stuff. Those were the highlights.
Yep, that's it. So it will be taken out of our hands next year, but not this year. Okay. Conservation Commission coordinator discussion. David and I also met with Joe Didi that same day, last Thursday, and he's looking to merge the coordinator position with the Park and Rec position, which I wasn't even sure there was one, but I guess they schedule time on the playing fields and things like that. And he was wondering our take on it. And my response was that I didn't think there would be a person who was trained to be a Conservation Commission coordinator would be interested in doing that kind of thing. And I think we might miss out on a lot of applicants. We might not get the best applicants if we go that route.
And the other thing too was, even if it was a full-time position, what would be the split of hours, right? Would there be an increased number of hours dedicated to conservation versus the Park and Rec position? And Joe didn't really have an idea on how that would all break out. So Chris and I said we didn't think it would work. We would feel it would make applicants kind of shy away from the job. But Marissa, I just wanted to get back to you because you had asked if there was a job description, and Carl Steinhardt is going to be posting for this position, and there are requirements for the job. Those are published. So Gene, I think you have a copy of that, or I know Chris or I both have.
Not the revised one. I only have the old one.
All right, we could share that with everybody, but there is specific requirements for the job.
Good, okay.
Yeah.
And I also concur with what you both said in terms of it being quite a separate job from something that would be in Parks and Rec. One thing that I've learned in my nearly 2 years on this commission is that the work that Dennis has done and continues to do as a consultant now, it's so incredibly specialized that even everybody else who has been on this commission for many more years than I have and have gone to various conferences to get further education on this, we still look to Dennis, all of us, for that very specialized research that he knows how to do. So I'd be very concerned, even if the hours were split in some even way, that someone just from a mental standpoint wouldn't be able to kind of fully dedicate themselves to that really thorough research that we've come to depend on Dennis on for so much, that really kind of leads our agenda every week, frankly. So
right. And we did relay to Joe that, what Dennis does is really a full-time job already. So, we tried to let him know that he was underpaid. That's why he left. And he's been doing a lot of work outside of the regularly scheduled hours that you can't really document. There are phone calls, emails, I mean, just regular conversations that he has with people that are part of his job or that made his job better. So, I mean, basically he was doing a full-time job without adding Park and Rec.
Right. And our commission and in turn, the people of Southwick directly benefited from that really thorough research and communication that he was able to maintain with those outside parties. So I would hope that or I guess the job notice highlights that there is a great deal of kind of coordination, literally, I know it's in the title, but really coordination centric work and having the time and bandwidth to talk to all the people that Dennis has talked throughout the years and the contacts that Dennis has throughout state agencies as well, that he's cultivated those relationships. That goes a long way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're hoping to get a few good applicants once it gets posted. But in the meantime, we do have Dennis as our consultant back for what he can do. And I'm happy that he's agreed to do that.
Appreciate that, Dennis. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dennis.
Like we said at the beginning of the meeting, to justify this, none of us can do what Dennis does. None of us know what Dennis actually does behind the scenes. So I think we've made a good decision in hiring Dennis as our consultant. All right.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to help out as long as I can, but please try to get somebody as soon as possible
No,
because
Dennis, $50 an hour. That's
I'm not going to be able to cover all the bases that I used to. Nowhere,
we
the
understand.
responsibilities are going to get lost if it doesn't. Somebody
Well,
doesn't. And
even showing up at meetings and giving us advice is a huge deal. Don't come to our decision.
I'll get the orders and conditions and all the paperwork ready for this last meeting you had tonight.
Super.
And I'll get you my information for consultant.
I think no matter who we get, what we're going to miss is a lot of the historical perspective that you have on a lot of these projects, right?
Sure.
I mean, half of these projects that we talked about tonight are longstanding projects. There's history. No matter who comes into the position is not going to be privy to what you've worked on over the last X number of years. So
Or just your
still
people
gonna be
knowledge.
kicking around.
Yeah.
I'll be willing to help them out, and share my knowledge as long as I can. I try to make this as smooth as possible. I'm gonna miss working with you guys, but I'll still be around, so I'm not going anywhere.
Appreciate it. Otherwise,
Thank
you
you.
can sit down. Okay. All right. Anybody want to go watch the Olympics or something like that?
I'm going to make a motion to close the meeting.
Okay, I'll second. Jerry,
Aye.
Marissa,
Aye.
Brian.
Aye.
Okay, we are closed.